friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of Boomerang. I am Jelly. I'm a personal development coach that promotes personal growth by looking at how relationships affect how you relate with yourself, with others, and the world around you. Today I'd like to introduce you to Jelly the storyteller. And as you have seen the title, it's about somebody called Freddie the Praying Mantis. So what's a praying mantis? A praying mantis is a carnivorous insect that is predatory in nature. So let me introduce you to the characters. There's Freddie, Nancy, Susan, and Cousin. Cousin doesn't have a name, but a very important person in the whole story. So Freddie is a middle-aged man, about 5'4", well-built, and generally takes care of himself. Nancy is this tall, beautiful, majestic Rwandese lady who is 6 foot tall, a single mom, taking care of herself, and generally doing well. Susan is Freddie's girlfriend, and Freddie and Susan live together. Nancy happens to be Susan's best friend. So, one day, Nancy calls Susan, and she's like, "Darling, this guy just left. He took off, and I have no clue why he left. And I really need to talk to somebody. Can I come over?" Susan was like, "Sure. In fact, let me put something together, and I'm here with Freddie." And we said, "You come through. Let's have something." So Nancy picks herself up and goes over to Susan's apartment. And they spend the whole afternoon talking about this guy who took off and just didn't leave any explanation. In fact, he just got on a plane, went back to America. Nancy is so distraught. The last time she heard from him was like 2 weeks ago, and the next thing, boom, he's off. So Freddie's listening to this story. First of all, he's impressed by Nancy. He's like, "Damn, who is this? And what kind of a guy leaves a chick that looks like this?" So anyway, he pays attention. Nancy narrates all the things she did for this guy and how he just took it for granted and he took off. So Freddie was paying attention, but Susan was making sure that she was in charge of everything that was happening in the house. So while Freddie was listening to this story, while Nancy is narrating this story, Freddie is being pushed around by Susan. Like, "Go get the dishes, pick this up, wash the dishes, do this." And as Susan is drinking her wine, it's getting worse. "Do this, do that, do the other." And so Nancy was shocked. She's like, "Gosh, I thought I had problems." But she was like, "To each their own. If this guy can just take all this, there must be some other kind of men out there." So anyway, Susan continues to imbibe. As Nancy is also imbibing, Susan is getting more drunk, yet it's Nancy who came with all the problems. But anyway, it got to a point where Susan fell asleep. And Nancy said, "Okay, Freddie, thank you so much for everything. This is my cue to leave." And Freddie was like, "Oh, you're leaving too soon." But she's like, "Susan has slept. What do I do?" So Freddie's like, "Well, I'm so sad to hear about that story. But hey, let's exchange numbers. We might be able to do business." And Nancy was like, "Yeah, why not? We could do things together. What's the problem?" So Nancy leaves and goes home. The following week, Susan kept calling Nancy, but Nancy for some reason was busy. She just couldn't pick up the calls. So after a few days, on a Sunday evening, Freddie calls Nancy. And Nancy was like, "Oh my goodness, Susan has been trying to find me. And now Freddie's calling." So then she picks up the call. She's like, "Hey Freddie, Susan has been trying to reach me. Is there a problem? Please hand over the phone to her. I'll explain to her why I couldn't pick up her call." Freddie's like, No. So Nancy's like, "So what's the problem?" "It's me. What about you?" "I left her." Then Nancy was like, "Let me just tell you something, Freddie. I was just wondering how you could live in this house and behave like a houseboy, honestly. I was watching you and I was like, things were not good. I know Susan is my friend, but no. So Freddie was like, "Yeah, I got to a point when I was just tired." So Nancy was like, "Well, too bad. I hope Susan is fine." And as they continued to talk, he had to reveal something to Nancy. He says, "Nancy, could we have a cup of coffee? There's something I'd like to let you know. Do you know we conned you?" So Nancy was like, "You conned me, eh? So all this time when I was praying for you guys were praying on me, eh?" "Yeah." So Nancy was like, "Yeah, I sort of figured out you guys had done something." And in her mind, she was like, "I guess people pray differently." So Freddie suggests, can we have some coffee? I'd like to make amends. Coffee, meaning I would like to start getting to know you. Remember, this is a praying mantis. So they have coffee. Nancy suggests, let's meet at this restaurant. Freddie shows up. He comes with a replacement of the things that they had conned her. So he sits down, he explains this elaborate con and the way they conned her. Nancy's just listening. And they order something to drink. He has tea, she has a glass of wine. And the minute that bill started showing up, the guy started sweating bullets. Well, I don't know whether I can afford this. So he just quietly whispers to her, my budget was only like 2,000 shillings. So Nancy's like, never mind. I'm the one who suggested here, so yeah, don't worry, I'll take care of mine, you take care of yours, no issues. And then he says, come and exchange those things that we took from you. And so Nancy receives these things as compensation and says, bye Fred, it's been real, thank you so much. So for some odd reason, I don't know whether it had to do with Nancy being vulnerable, having just come out of a really bad relationship, she continued to sort of entertain this guy. So Freddie every morning would get up and just write poetry and poetry and poetry. And Nancy would be like, okay, yeah. So one time he suggests, why don't you come and have a meal? And so Nancy was like, why not? But she decided to tag along her cousin. And they went to this guy's house, and of course there was food, and there was a bottle of wine, and there was what, and there was what. And then all of a sudden, Freddie was like confessing his love for Nancy. It's like, Nancy, I love you. I've never met a woman like you. You're just everything a man could dream of. And I would really like to be with you. So Nancy was like, no, I'm not interested. I was just coming to have lunch with you for old time's sake and stuff. And he's like, no, having never, ever met a woman like you. So anyway, Nancy was like, she was just being polite. And then, of course, Nancy's cousin, who is a guy, was noticing all this stuff. And he was giggling under his breath. I can die. This guy's so desperate. So, what he did, Nancy's cousin would get up and go to the bathroom for a bathroom break. And every time he'd go to the bathroom break, Freddie would turn into a praying mantis. He would jump on Nancy because, of course, you remember, Nancy is 6 foot tall. This guy is 5 foot tall. So, the only chance he got to talk to Nancy eyeball to eyeball was when Nancy was sitting down. So he got up from his seat and went and grabbed Nancy and said, I'm going to love you. I am going to love you. I will love you more than you can ever imagine. I will love you, Kimuzongo. And this chick was like, what is Kimuzongo? So why is it? But before I go on, let me just tell you this. This is a true story. If you remember in episode 1, I said I use personal experiences to illustrate the points I'm trying to make. This is a true story. This is a story that was narrated to me, believe it or not. And these characters do actually exist. So, let's come back to the Kimuzungu story. So Nancy was like, what is Kimuzungu love? So Freddie was like, I understand that you're a woman who can hold your own. That you're a woman who can take care of her kids. I mean, really, honestly, you're doing well for yourself. But the one thing I've noticed is that you lack love. You just need to be loved. You need genuine love. So Nancy was like, what is genuine love then, according to you, Freddie? He's like, I'll come. I'll take care of you. I'll make sure I cook for you. I'll make sure your bedroom is smart. She's like, you make sure my what is what? Yes, that's the way I feel like I can add something into your life. She's just like, my goodness, if there's anything that could ever describe desperation, is this Freddie right here. But anyway, Freddie has a very thick skin, so every rebuttal, every rejection from Nancy didn't matter to him. It was just like, persistence. Persistence is what is going to win the day. It's going to get me the medal. This chick called Nancy, all she needs is to be loved. And he would write her poems and poems. And I know you're all wondering, why the hell did Nancy just block this guy? Who knows? But it went on and went on. Until one day Nancy just mustered the courage to say, "Listen here, Freddie. It doesn't matter what you tell me, whatever you do, I cannot be the woman that you want." And Freddie would hear none of it. He would hear none of it. He just kept pushing and pushing and pushing until one day she just had to block him. What would Freddie do? Of course, Freddie made sure that he took the number of the cousin, Nancy's cousin. He would call the cousin. "Oh, please talk to Nancy. I think she's going through something. She's blocked me. She's told me this, she's told me that." And of course, Nancy's cousin would come and talk about it. And Nancy would be like, "I'm not interested." So it took a while for Freddie to accept that it's not going to work. What I want to say to all the Freddies out there, a woman who is of worthy repute, who is taking care of herself, isn't looking for a man just to love her. She's looking for a man she can respect. A woman cannot love a man she does not respect. What advice do you have for Freddie? Put that in the comment section. What do you think was the motivation behind his lack of self-respect? Would like to hear from you. In the next episode, we'll be discussing different scenarios that have deeper implications when it comes to repairing relationships. There's a lot to learn and a lot to reflect on. In the meantime, may restoration be your portion. Peace out.